The Hermit's Path. Every life follows a path. Most people move through their days without thinking much about the small habits that guide them, the words they speak, the choices they repeat, the routines that quietly shape who they become. The Hermit's Path is a place to slow down and look at those small things. In this series, we explore simple ideas and practical steps that can help bring a little more awareness and intention into everyday life. Nothing complicated, just thoughtful ways to live a little more deliberately, one small step at a time. The day I stopped being available to everyone. There was a time in my life when I thought being needed meant being loved. If someone called, I answered. If someone needed help, I showed up. If someone needed listening ears, my door stayed open long after I should have closed it for the night. And for a long time, I called that kindness. But somewhere along the way, I realized something uncomfortable. Most people did not actually know me. They knew access to me. They knew I would say yes. They knew I would make room for them. They knew I would bend my own peace to protect theirs. And the strangest part is I did not even notice how exhausted I had become, because exhaustion had started to feel normal. I think a lot of quiet people fall into this trap, especially thoughtful people, especially people who have spent their lives trying not to become a burden to anyone else. You start believing your value comes from how easy you are to need. So you stay available, you stay agreeable, you stay soft-spoken, even when something inside you wants to finally say, no, enough. But eventually something happens. You wake up one morning and realize your entire emotional life has become crowd control. You are managing everyone else's comfort, everyone else's expectations, everyone else's emotions. And somewhere underneath all of that noise, you can no longer hear yourself clearly. That realization changed me. Not overnight, not dramatically. I did not become cold or cruel. I simply became quieter with my energy. I stopped answering every message immediately. I stopped explaining every boundary. I stopped volunteering pieces of myself just because someone expected access to them. And honestly, at first, it felt selfish. When you have spent years being emotionally available on demand, choosing yourself almost feels wrong, like you are breaking some invisible contract. But after a while, something unexpected happened. I could breathe again. The silence around me stopped feeling heavy because it was finally mine again. I started realizing how much of my exhaustion had not come from solitude. It came from emotional overexposure. That is an important difference. Some people think solitude means escaping people. But sometimes solitude is simply recovering yourself, recovering your thoughts, recovering your nervous system, recovering the parts of yourself that became shaped around everyone else's needs. And the truth is, the world rewards people who abandon themselves quietly. People love endless availability. People love when you never say no. People love when your entire identity becomes usefulness. But usefulness is not the same thing as connection. Real connection survives boundaries. Real connection does not punish you for resting. It does not disappear because you took time for yourself. It does not demand constant emotional access in order to remain. These days, my life is much smaller than it used to be. Quieter, too. And I have noticed something interesting about quiet living. The less I perform availability, the more peaceful I become. I no longer feel responsible for carrying every conversation, my solving every emotional problem, or making sure everyone around me feels comfortable all the time. That weight is gone now. And in its place is something I did not have before. Space. Space to think. Space to rest. Space to actually hear my own life again. I think a lot of people are starving for that kind of space without realizing it. They think they need a vacation, or motivation, or better time management. But sometimes what they truly need is permission to stop overgiving themselves away. Not every text needs an immediate answer. Not every invitation deserves a yes. Not every relationship deserves unlimited access to your energy. There is nothing wrong with becoming protective of your peace. In fact, I think that may be one of the quiet turning points in a person's life. The moment they stop asking, will people still like me if I choose myself? And start asking, why was I taught choosing myself was wrong in the first place? That question changes things. Because once you stop performing constant availability, you begin discovering who you are underneath all the pleasing. And maybe that is part of the hermit's path too. Not running away from people, just finally coming home to yourself. Walking the hermit's path doesn't require dramatic change. Most of the time, it begins with something small: a new habit, a different way of thinking, or a simple choice made with a little more awareness. If something in this episode resonated with you, consider giving the video a like and sharing it with someone who might also appreciate the idea. And if you'd like to continue exploring simple ways to live more intentionally, be sure to subscribe and join me again along the Hermit's path.